Hello and welcome to Train Story Tales episode 6. Today we're going to be looking at the Terrier locomotives that we have at the railway here. This is a very interesting class of locomotives, designed in 1872 by William Stroudley for the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway. And they were so popular and useful that they stayed in service right up until 1963. As you can see, they're fairly small and they are ideal for rural railways and of course these days particularly for heritage railways. Indeed, the Isle of Wight railways throughout its history had 8 of these locomotives in use. This one, number 11, is perhaps the most famous of them all. She's known also by the name of Newport. This locomotive was built in 1878 and she was hardly run in before she was taken over to Paris to represent Britain at the Great Paris Exhibition, sort of the equivalent of our Great Exhibition at Crystal Palace. There she really impressed the judges. She was shown off on the tracks around Paris and they were very impressed by her performance, and indeed also the use of her Westinghouse brake, which was particularly well commented on. So well did she do that she was actually won the Gold Medal award. That medal was for her performance, construction and appearance, hitting all 3 targets very well. This locomotive came to the island in 1902. She ended her life on the Isle of Wight in 1947, moved to the mainland and worked at various railways. She finished her expected life in 1963 and was actually due to be scrapped, but was rescued by Sir Billy Butlin, who used her as a static display at his holiday camp in North Wales. And it was there until 1973 when it was acquired by the Isle of Wight Steam Railway. She was restored and repaired, including a new boiler, and now does Stirling service with us. This is our second Terrier locomotive, W8, also known as Freshwater. This one was built in 1876, making it 2 years older than Newport, and it came to the island in 1913. Stayed here until 1949, when it was moved to the mainland. Again, it did Stirling work when it was on the island, but when it moved to the mainland, it ended up its days on Hayling Island. It was taken out of service in 1963, and unusually it was then used as a pub sign. Brickwoods used her at the Hayling Billy public house, and for 10 years she was there at the front of the pub advertising that pub for the brewery. She was acquired by the Isle of Wight Steam Railway in 1973. Needed a lot of work spent on her. Indeed, in the late 1990s, she had to have a brand new boiler which cost £35,000. That sounds a lot, but 9 years later, a new boiler for Newport cost double that, £70,000. But as you see, she is now in pieces. This is not because she's not good anymore or being scrapped. She's having her 10-year boiler service for her certification, so it's missing its boiler and a lot of the other gear at the moment. But we are hopeful that she will be fully restored and back into use next year. Indeed, the Terrier locomotives were to a large extent the workhorses of the Isle of Wight Steam Railway. These locomotives are, as I said, proved very useful. They were particularly useful with the push-pull set. You will recall from our earlier episode that the push-pull set was operated from the rear of the train when it was going in reverse, and the Terrier locomotives were ideal for that purpose. They just needed another air pump fitted on the left-hand side of the cab. This locomotive was known as Knoll. She is the newest of the 3 Terriers feature in this video. She was built in 1880, the last year that these locomotives were built. In 1929, she came to the Isle of Wight and was renumbered 14 and given the name Bembridge, but she only stayed here for 7 years. Like the other terriers, she was taken out of service in 1963, and just like our Newport locomotive, she was bought by Sir Billy Butlin and was used as a static display at his holiday camp, this time in Minehead. She was restored over a 25-year period, returning to steam initially in the year 2000. And she has recently completed a second restoration by her owner, the Terrier Trust CIO, who, with the agreement of the Kent and East Sussex Heritage Railway, have kindly loaned her to the Isle of Wight Steam Railway for a month. But now that we have the larger and newer Iverts, these locomotives are coming out less frequently for special occasions. But it's a testament to their design and construction that here we are over 140 years after she was built, that she's still doing the job that she was designed for. That's it for this episode. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye. See you next time.